Bonjour and welcome to Love Learning French. In today's lesson, we will be learning the subject pronouns in French. But before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And press the bell icon to get all future notifications of any videos that I post. Let's get started. So, what are subject pronouns? The subject pronouns in English are I, you, he, she, we, and they. So today we will learn what these are in French. Before learning each of them individually, we need to first understand the difference between informal and formal. Informal is when you're talking to friends, younger sibling, or more. And formal is when you're talking to your teachers, parents, bosses, or more. So in French, the subject pronouns differ according to the formality. So if you want to say you in French, they will differ for informal and formal. You will have to learn two different subject pronouns. Let's look at what they are. So first, let's learn what I is in French. This does not change when it's informal or formal. So I in French is je. So the pronunciation of je is je. Practicing it with me. Je, je. Well done. Now let's learn what you is in French. So you in French can be said in two different ways. For informal and formal. Let's learn what they are. So for informal, we're supposed to say tu, and for formal, we say vous. We have to keep another thing in mind.
If you want to say you plural, like you're talking to a bunch of your friends or a bunch of your teachers, you always have to say vous. You never say tu for plural. So now you might understand that you use vous when talking about formal and plural, and tu for informal.
The pronunciation of tu is tu.
Another thing we have to keep in mind is the sound of H has to be less, so it's kind of silent.
Practice saying it with me. Tu, tu. Perfect. Now we have vous, which we use for formal or for plural. The pronunciation is vous. Repeat after me. Vous, vous. Très bien. Très bien means well done. The next pronoun we have is he. He also does not change according to the formality. So he in French simply il. The pronunciation is il. Répétez après moi, which means repeat after me. Il, il.
Très bien.
Next we have she. She in French also does not differ according to the formality. So it is said as elle. Répétez après moi. Repeat after me. Elle, elle. Well done. Next, we have we. We can be said in two different ways. For informal and for formal. So for informal, it is on. But over here, we have to keep in mind that this is used for plural as well. So over here, we do not look at the singularity or plurality. We only look at the informal and formal. So if I'm talking about a group of friends, I'm talking about we friends, then I have to use on. But if I'm talking about we, like people I don't know or like me with teachers, then I have to use nous. And this can also be used with plural. So like I said earlier, on and nous are only for informal and formal. The plurality or singularity does not change them. The pronunciation of on is on. Répétez après moi. On, on. And then for nous, it can be nous. Repeat after me. Nous, nous. Très bien. Last but not the least, we have they. They is also said in two different ways, but now it will not be for informal and formal. It will be for if you're talking about girls and boys, like if you're talking about a group of girls or a group of boys. When you're talking about a group of girls, it is L. You may notice that this is like she, but we add an S at the end. So it's kind of like plural of she. That's why it becomes they. And for boys, it is il. Again, like he with an S plural. But now you may ask me, what if I'm talking about like 5 boys with 4 girls or 3 girls? What do I put then? There's a French rule we must know that even if there is like 1,000 girls and just 1 boy, the gender that comes out of it will always just be boys, like masculine. So if I'm talking about they, as in 1,000 girls and 1 boy, I have to still use eels. Try to remember this. Let's practice the pronunciation. L. Over here, the pronunciation does not change for he and she. In they, S remains silent, so it's simply as for saying he and she. But we know if it's they or he or she according to the word that comes after this. And we will learn about this later, like, they are and stuff like that. So we have to gather from context what we're talking about when we have the S silent. So for L's, that's wrong. The pronunciation is L. And for eels, that's also wrong. It is simply eel. Repeat after me. L, L, eel. Très bien. Now let's try to sum up everything we've learned in this table. So we learned that I is je, and the pronunciation is je. You singular or you informal is tu, the pronunciation being tu. Remember that the H is silent. Next we have he. He in French is il. The pronunciation is il. She in French is elle. The pronunciation is elle. Then we informal. Remember over here, the singularity and plurality does not matter. So We informal is uh, and then we formal is nous. I'm talking about you plural or you formal, that would be vous. And then for they masculine, when we're talking about a group of boys or even 1,000 girls with one boy, that would be il. Remember the S is silent. You can see here that the pronunciation is the same for both. And for they feminine, it is elle. Now you know all of the subject pronouns in French. I would suggest that you go over these once again and try to memorize these because later on, these will be very, very important for you. So, I think that's it for today. See you in my next lesson and au revoir. Love learning French.